The Echo Keepers and the Silent Bloom. Old Man Theron was an Echo Keeper, one of the last of his kind. He lived amongst the Whisperwind Plains, a vast expanse of shimmering grasses that stretched as far as the eye could see. These weren't ordinary grasses, they were living resonators, each blade attuned to the subtle vibrations of the universe. Theron's task, passed down through generations, was to tend to these resonators, to ensure their harmonies remained unbroken, to safeguard the memories they held. He didn't create the harmonies, he listened for them, coaxing them into being through careful attention and unwavering respect. He was a guardian of the past, a steward of the present, and a silent hope for the future. For centuries, the Whisperwind Plains had thrived in peaceful equilibrium. The resonators hummed with the collective memories of countless generations, weaving a tapestry of experience that resonated throughout the land. But lately, something had begun to change. A new kind of silence was descending upon the plains, a stillness that wasn't peaceful but unsettling. The resonators were growing fainter, their harmonies fractured, their memories fading. And then it began, the silent bloom. It wasn't a physical blossoming but an emergence of pure, unmodulated energy. It didn't originate from the earth or the sky or any discernible source. It simply was a field of potential, a void of possibility, a silent echo of something unknown. The bloom didn't disrupt the harmonies of the plains, it bypassed them, existing on a different frequency, a different plane of existence. The other Echo Keepers were terrified. They saw the bloom as a threat, an anomaly that would unravel the fabric of their world. They tried to contain it, to suppress it, to force it to conform to their established patterns. They erected barriers of sonic energy, wove intricate webs of resonance, and chanted ancient incantations, hoping to drive the bloom away. But their efforts were futile. The bloom simply absorbed their energy, growing stronger, expanding its reach, deepening its silence. Lyra was different. She was a young Echo Keeper, barely a century old, but she possessed a rare gift, an ability to perceive the subtle nuances of energy, to listen to the unheard melodies of the universe. She didn't see the bloom as a threat, but as a mystery, an opportunity, a challenge. She believed that the bloom wasn't trying to destroy the harmonies of the plains, but to transform them, to elevate them to a higher level of existence. She began to study the bloom, spending hours observing its patterns, listening to its silence, trying to understand its nature. She discovered that the bloom wasn't empty, but full of potential, a vast reservoir of unexpressed energy, a field of infinite possibilities. She realized that the bloom wasn't a separate entity, but an integral part of the plains, a natural evolution of the existing harmonies. She began to experiment, using her own energy to interact with the bloom, to explore its depths, to unlock its secrets. She discovered that the bloom responded to her touch, adapting to her energy, mirroring her intentions. She learned to shape the bloom, to guide its growth, to harness its power. The other Echo Keepers were outraged. They accused her of heresy, of betraying her ancestors, of endangering the plains. They demanded that she cease her experiments, that she conform to their established ways, but Lyra refused to listen. She believed that she was on the verge of a breakthrough, that she was about to unlock a new level of understanding, that she was about to usher in a new era of harmony. She continued her experiments, delving deeper into the mysteries of the bloom. She discovered that the bloom wasn't just a source of energy, but a conduit to other dimensions, other realities, other planes of existence. She learned that the bloom was connected to all things, that it was a part of the universal consciousness, that it was a reflection of the divine. She began to share her discoveries with the other Echo Keepers, hoping to convince them to embrace the bloom. But they remained skeptical, resistant to change, clinging to their old ways. They refused to believe that something so alien, so unpredictable, could be a force for good. Lyra realized that she couldn't force them to understand. She could only lead by example, demonstrating the power of the bloom through her own actions. She began to use the bloom to heal the sick, to restore the land, to bring peace to the troubled. Slowly, gradually, the other Echo Keepers began to change their minds. They witnessed the miracles that Lyra was performing, and they realized that the bloom wasn't a threat, but a blessing. They began to experiment with the bloom themselves, learning to harness its power, to unlock its secrets. Together, they transformed the Whisperwind Plains into a paradise, a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of symbiosis. They learned that the greatest harmonies weren't created through control, but through collaboration, through embracing the unknown, through allowing the universe to express itself in all its infinite glory. But the transformation wasn't without its challenges. The bloom attracted the attention of other beings, other forces, other dimensions. Some were benevolent, offering their assistance, sharing their knowledge. Others were malevolent, seeking to exploit the bloom for their own purposes, to disrupt the harmony of the plains. Lyra and the other Echo Keepers had to learn to defend their paradise, to protect the bloom from those who would seek to harm it. They forged alliances with other beings, other forces, other dimensions, creating a network of protection that spanned the universe. They discovered that the greatest weapon wasn't force, but understanding, compassion, and forgiveness. They learned to reach out to their enemies, to understand their motivations, to offer them a path to redemption. They discovered that the universe wasn't a battlefield but a garden, and that the greatest joy wasn't conquering, but cultivating, nurturing, and allowing all things to bloom. And as the Whisperwind Plains continued to thrive, Lyra realized that the bloom wasn't just a transformation of the plains, but a transformation of herself, a blossoming of her own consciousness, a realization of her own potential. She understood that the universe wasn't something separate from herself, but an integral part of her being, and that the greatest journey wasn't to find her place in the universe, but to become the universe. The silence of the bloom wasn't emptiness, but fullness, the potential for all things, the echo of creation, the song of the universe. And Lyra, the echo keeper, became the bloom, and the bloom became the universe, and the universe bloomed forever. The last tendrils of violet light kissed the shimmering grasses, a final benediction upon the Whisperwind Plains. Old Man Theron, or what remained of him, a resonance woven into the very fabric of the land, felt a gentle stirring, a remembering. It wasn't a memory of himself, not anymore, but of the long, winding path that had led to this quiet blossoming. He recalled the initial fear, the rigid adherence to ancient patterns, the resistance to the silent bloom, a resistance born not of malice, but of a desperate clinging to the known in the face of the vast, unknowable universe. He remembered Lyra, the young echo keeper, her courage a fragile flame against the wind, her unwavering belief in the potential for harmony a beacon in the gathering darkness. It hadn't been a simple transformation, this melding of old and new, it had been a fracturing, a rebuilding, a delicate dance between preservation and evolution. The bloom hadn't replaced the harmonies of the plains. It had unfolded them, revealing layers of resonance previously unheard, previously unimagined. It was as if the universe itself had been holding its breath, waiting for a catalyst, a willing heart to unlock its hidden potential. And Lyra, with her quiet strength and unwavering compassion, had been that key. The plains hadn't simply accepted the bloom, they had become the bloom, a living testament to the power of symbiosis, a shimmering echo of the universe's inherent creativity. The resistance hadn't vanished, either. It had transformed, becoming a gentle current of caution, a reminder that even the most beautiful harmonies require vigilance, that even the most profound transformations demand a delicate balance. The story of the Whisperwind Plains wasn't merely a tale of survival, but a reflection of the universe's own unfolding, a constant process of birth, death, and rebirth, a perpetual dance between order and chaos, a shimmering reminder that the greatest harmonies aren't found in control, but in collaboration, in embracing the unknown, in allowing all things to bloom in their own unique and wondrous way. It was a story whispered on the wind, woven into the grass, echoing in the silence, a story about the courage to listen, the wisdom to adapt, and the unwavering belief that even in the face of the vast, unknowable universe, a single, courageous heart can ignite a symphony of transformation, a blossoming of potential that resonates throughout eternity. And as the last vestiges of light faded, Theron felt a profound sense of peace, a knowing that the story wasn't ending, but simply continuing, unfolding, blossoming, a perpetual echo of the universe's infinite creativity, a shimmering testament to the power of love, compassion, and the unwavering belief that even in the deepest silence, a symphony of transformation can bloom.